Charter school company run by GOP rising star left parent scrambling. Did you just copy and paste the title? Yes, you did. Kathleen Sitola believes she had found the perfect fit for her 9-year-old grandson Landon when Optima Classical Academy broke ground in 2023 near Fort Myers, Florida. She was drawn to the smaller class sizes and more traditional curriculum, which she felt would be less woke than the public school he was currently attending. Regarding gender and race, I want him to be able to make up his own mind. This is child abuse, and she should be arrested. It's fucking insane. It is insane to me that there are parents out there that are determining their child's scholastic future off of, like, which school is more woke. You're actually a piece of shit. You're a massive piece of shit, and you shouldn't have kids. Or, like, the state should repossess them, and you should be in jail. That's insane to me. My Texas cousin does that. To progress, we're going to have to deal with parents treating their children like property. Yeah, it almost always comes back to the parental rights thing, you know? Almost all of these culture war issues are framed through the, I, as a parent, should get to decide what my child sees kind of shit, you know? They did it with gay people, trans people, DEI, anything involving schooling. But it all comes back to it. Parents should have less ownership of their kids. Look, it's pretty simple, man, okay? The conservative position, unambiguously, is that parents should get to abuse their kids. That's it. That's it. Like, I disagree. I don't think that parents should get to abuse and their kids. And this is a position they will argue against forever. Vaush, I don't think they literally should be able to allow children. Yeah, well, they wouldn't admit it, but no, it does kind of keep coming back to that, you know? I'm telling you, man, it's a whole fucking complex. Purity balls and shit. There's so much of it that winds around control over their child's sexuality. And a lot of it actually, I mean, a lot of it just explicitly is physical and sexual abuse. God, do you have any idea how little time you have to spend looking for it to find, you know, conservative content creator, preacher, whatever, arrested after allegations of abusing their kid and so on and so forth? It's not always conservatives, but it's like often conservatives. And that's because ideologically they think of children as their property, not individual people with their autonomy. Look, kids are people, okay? They're stupid and weak, but they are people. There are adults who are stupid and weak, you know? Like, just people, you know? They have a degree of autonomy, and I don't think you should abuse them. Conservatives unironically disagree with this. They think that children should be allowed to be subjected to essentially anything the parent wants them to be subjected to, as long as it's conservative coded, you know? So of course they think it's abuse for, like, a kid to be walking down the street and see a gay couple holding hands, but they don't think it's abuse to have this, like, draconian, extremely weirdly Freudian worldview pushed onto them where their mom and dad are, like, obsessing over their sexual purity and telling them they'll go to hell if they, like, touch themselves or whatever. That's not abuse to a Christian conservative. That's just normal, man. I genuinely think there has to be a child emancipation movement. You can't frame it that way because in bad faith, conservatives will say, oh, child emancipation, you want to lower the age of consent. In reality, of course, conservatives are the ones who consistently keep arguing for the lowering of the age of consent. But, you know, beyond that, you should probably frame it as like, it can't be pro-child emancipation. It has to be anti-parental abuse because fundamentally, we're dealing with the same thing here. But that's the framing it has to take, you know? Authoritarian parenting, abusive parenting. You'd have to come up with you'd have to get a good word for it. But yeah, fundamentally, that's the problem we're dealing with here. NSC results begin to come out. I know you're like the 50th person to have said so, but let's finish this article, huh? I want to look at the video. This is a very important topic. I mean, we're literally talking about the future of our country here.
Investigation into self-described classical charter schools growing in popularity nationwide, often pitched as a more conservative alternative to regular public schools. But these taxpayer-funded schools...
Glad Vaush talking about this because I grew up in this kind of environment, fucked me up for life, and nobody I talked to about it would accept that it's also sexually abusive to constantly obsess over making sure I remain chaste. 100%, yeah. But no one even talks about it in that context. If you're like, if you've got a little daughter and the parents are like freaking out and telling her over and over, like, you know, you have to remain sexually pure, your like soul is tainted or some shit, like, that's sexual abuse. Of course it is. It's obviously sexual abuse, you know? I think you'd have to be an insane person to not think so.
funded schools also tend to operate with less oversight, and that's raising some questions. Mark Strassman reports on one school that was launched by a leading school choice advocate who is also the wife of a prominent Florida politician. Now some parents are feeling betrayed.
I would never, ever put my child in this school now.
Kathleen Satola walked us up to what was supposed to be Optima Classical Academy in Fort Myers.
Empty.
DeSantis' paranoid conspiracy theories that teachers are grooming kids was so effective that over 50,000 students have been pulled out of public schools and dozens of schools are closed because of it. Phenomenal work for his constituency, as always. Yeah, I think it's extremely telling that one of the things that most reliably riles up conservative parents is the idea that their children might be talking to teachers behind their back. The fact that they think that's weird at all. What do you mean my child gets to speak to another authority figure who isn't me? The fact that that's at all an issue anyone talks about, to me, this is just like failure flag, 100%. It's fucking psychotic. Well, you think that because they're your kid, they should never get to talk to anyone? Statistically speaking, you're the one most likely to be raping them, buddy. I wonder why you don't want them talking to anyone else. It is a pro-child abuse movement, 100%.
279 students enrolled for the 2024 school year, including Satola's 9-year-old grandson, Landon. She is his legal guardian.
Regarding gender and race, I want him to be able to make up his own mind.
You felt that Optima would be less woke.
Yes.
But in May of 2024, Satola received this email saying Optima would not open as planned. It cited economic challenges and lingering instability from Hurricane Ian 2 years earlier.
What was going through your mind?
What am I going to do? I had told the current school he wasn't coming back. Where was I going to put my child?
That email came from Erica.
Can you please explain why wanting your daughter to be chased is sexual abuse? I don't agree with doing that, but I want to hear you explain it. Because in context, in a lot of these like Christian conservative households, over the course of years and years, the parents are grooming their children into believing an ideology of personal sexual conservatism along the lines of like, yeah, if you ever masturbate, like that's a sinful thing and you can go to hell. Do you have any idea what the fuck that can do to a... Thank God my parents are agnostic. You literally talk to anyone who grew up in a religious household. That shit is really fucking creepy. And it's never like a one-off conversation or whatever. It's an entire life of surveillance where your weirdly over-intrusive parents are hyper-fixated on this entirely biblically supported notion of sexual purity. Because, of course, we're talking about masturbation. We're not talking about not getting teen pregnant or whatever. Yeah, don't get teen pregnant. That's pretty straightforward. You don't have to invoke things like the immortal soul to point that out. You don't want to get teen pregnant for a wide variety of pretty empirically defensible reasons, okay? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about people who, like, your entire worth as a woman, they say to a 9-year-old girl, you know, is making sure you're hard to get for men. And if you're ever not, everyone won't respect you. What I'm describing is not like a one-off thing or an uncommon thing. This is like a very common thing that these people are subjected to. It's really insane. And again, honestly, look, I grew up in an agnostic household. Everything I've heard has been secondhand. I guarantee you, like, you can probably talk to 1,000 people who are watching right now who have insane personal anecdotes, either from their own lives or from the lives of someone they know. Probably way more insane than me, because my parents are liberal, godless atheists, and so are my friends. So, like, we don't... In my case, it's more like a second or maybe third-hand thing. But you, like, chat, fucking, you know, please, yep in chat. If you personally, either from your own experiences or someone you know, insane anecdote about weird, controlling, Christian conservative, so on and so forth, like sexual abuse stuff. Yeah, it's really, really common. And it's up. And it is, I feel like. It is.
Donalds, Optima's chief executive.
My biggest success in business is providing the education options that I dreamed of for other families.
Donalds, a leading voice for school choice, is the wife of Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. He's the Republican frontrunner in next year's Florida's gubernatorial race.
I knew there were...
Wow, crazy. It's always, always, always not people involved in education, but rather people involved in conservative activism. That's crazy. Every single time, with zero exceptions.
So many families out there that were desperate for this option.
Before the school in Fort Myers, she had launched 4 other classical charter schools across Florida. Our CBS News investigation looked into the tax filings for those 4 Optima-run schools. Between 2020 and 2023, they paid roughly 30% of the government funding they received, totaling about $35 million, to outside firms that Optima said offered good prices on payroll, IT, and other back-office services. It was eventually disclosed Eric O'Donnell's held a stake in 2 of those firms.
Wow, what a surprise.
Each worth more than $1 million.
It is absolutely problematic, but it is not atypical.
For this industry?
For this industry, no.
Professor Bruce Baker studies charter schools at the University of Miami. He told us nationally, charter schools generally provide far fewer details about how they spend taxpayer money than traditional public schools.
It's not easy at all to follow the money.
So is there any...
There's a private Christian academy in my city. They literally brag about keeping children from understanding evolution. I cannot overstate how essential it is to ban all non-public education for everyone, 0 exceptions. And if you want an exception, you get arrested. So important. Everyone, the poorest to the richest, no matter where in America they are born and live, goes to a public school that follows the exact same rules. It would be the greatest equalizer. This is what public schooling is for, by the way. This is the entire point. It's meant to be the platform upon which you build a meritocratic environment, you know? Not to say you'd have a meritocracy if you had everyone to public school, but it would be a hell of a good start.
Accountability.
Presumptively, the accountability is
You go
on
to public school? Yeah, fuck yeah, I did. Absolutely.
how well they do for students.
Baker looked at Optima's student performance and found below-average test results in math and reading.
Florida's charter sector is not strong, and Optima schools, at least the 4 schools that seem to be in that affiliated mix, perform even less well.
According to the former principal at this Optima-run school, students excelled. And while a 2023 audit praised outstanding financial health, some faculty complained Optima operated more like a franchising corporation and was dedicated to profit, sometimes to the detriment of the school itself. Concerns Optima pledged to address.
What a surprise.
I wanted to find an alternative, so I was really excited. Everybody was excited about it. 3.
For the past 2 years, Brianna Hatley tried to enroll her 8-year-old daughter Bella in Optima Academy in Fort Myers, the school that never opened its doors.
These are our kids, they're our world. So if you're gonna have a school, if you're gonna offer services, then offer them. If you're not, then just leave us alone.
Eric O'Donnell's declined an interview. In a statement, a spokesperson said she is an accomplished businesswoman with a strong record of starting successful charter schools and providing thousands of students with an excellent education.
I feel cheated, and these kids were cheated. It's heartbreaking.
Maybe reflect on your own behavior, you stupid piece of shit. Maybe finding a school based on it being anti-woke was maybe like there was a bit of a process error there. Huh?
Since the Fort Myers school never opened, it never collected any public money. But in a charter school system with limited public accountability, Kathleen Satola's Optima experience left her with questions.
They just dropped the ball and ran. How can you do something like this and sell this to parents who really want to stay involved with their children?
That's your movement. You voted for these people. You deserve it.
And then just walk away.
Donald's management company...
And once again, the conservative gets to just pretend that they weren't responsible for this. I hate it so... I can't stand it, dude. That in these interviews, they're never like, yeah, this is what you support, you know? They always let them get away with it, like they get to be the wronged party. Buddy, your kid is the wronged party. Your child, who has a bright and promising future if you don't fuck it up. He's the victim here. You're the idiot who chose an anti-woke charter school.
Longer operates any of those original Optima schools. A source close to her told us Optima partnered with these schools in their early years until they reached full stability. There seems little chance Optima Academy will ever open at that Fort Myers location. Back in October, the county school board approved the transfer of the building to another charter school company.
Great, another charter school. Well, hopefully a woke one.